Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Right now at noon, honoring the life of a Raleigh police officer killed in the 2022 Hedingham mass shooting. We'll take a live look at the ceremony now underway to remember his life and service to the community.
And our next cold front really brings some sweater weather to the area with the coolest air of the season. I'll let you know where temperatures could dip into the 30s this week coming up.
And we are just days away from until the state fair opens. WRAL's Scott Mason is live at the fairgrounds with a look at all the excitement and the goodies this year.
Right now at noon, officers are coming together to remember the life of former Raleigh police officer Gabriel Torres. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Torres was one of 5 people killed in the Hedingham mass shooting. Yesterday marked exactly 2 years since that violent day. WRAL's Sean Gallagher shows us how close friends and loved ones of Officer Torres are keeping his memory alive. Sean.
Yeah, Officer Torres lived a life as a servant to his country, his community, and maybe above all else, his family, as a loving father and also a loving husband as well. And right here behind me, the wreath-laying ceremony is just getting underway. The Raleigh Police honoring Torres' life of service with this ceremony at the Law Enforcement Training Center. Now, Torres was with RPD for over a year when he was killed during the Hedingham mass shooting on his way to work, leaving behind a wife and daughter who's now 4 years old. Here in attendance, there are a number of new cadets, all of them now facing the mortality of what their service could mean.
It really hit home when you had an end of watch ceremony and your young officer coming on to the department. It really shows what potentially could happen in this line of work. You know, there's many, many law enforcement officers throughout our country that have lost their life and paid the ultimate sacrifice. So as a cadet here at the Raleigh Police Department, we hope that they understand the gravity of the work that they're going to be doing as they embark on their career here in law enforcement.
And Torres' life has caused ripple effects of change across the state. A law was changed just earlier this year awarding his family full-duty death benefits. In relation to his death, lawmakers changing that law that any officer who is on their way to work or on their way home and dies gets full-duty death benefits. Sean Gallagher, WRAL News in Raleigh.
May his legacy never be forgotten. A strong cold front pushing through today is the coldest of the season so far. Meteorologist Kat Campbell is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with when we can expect the coolest day since March, Kat.
It's going to be here once we get to the middle of the week. Today, we've got the cold front moving through. It's not going to bring any rain with it. It will bring a breeze, but still very nice out today. High temperatures should be in the low to mid 70s, full sunshine, no rain. And we typically see some rain with the cold front passing, but this air mass not only cold, but dry as well. And that's why we're just not seeing any rain. We are going to see that northwest wind kick in behind the front, though, and that's what's going to be pulling in the much cooler air from Canada. And that starts to push in late tonight. It's going to be with us tomorrow. Tomorrow, you'll want to dress in layers or at least have a sweater on hand, but you're really going to notice the chill in the mornings. The normal low this time of year is 52. It's actually going to be feeling more like November once we get to Thursday, Friday mornings, low temperatures falling near 40. So Thursday and Friday, those are going to be the mornings to watch. We're forecasting 40 here in the Triangle, but we are expecting some 30s out there, and that brings about the potential for a frost in our more rural communities and areas toward the North Carolina-Virginia border. Coming up in about 10 minutes, I'll have a town-by-town look at which areas are likely to be in the 30s and really go in depth on the frost threat for this week.
New at noon, some FEMA locations are back open now in western North Carolina after being forced to put that aid relief effort on hold over reported threats toward responders. The Ashe County Sheriff's Office says some of those efforts were put on hold just for security and cautious reasons on Sunday. It comes amid a backdrop of misinformation about responses to recent storms. Today on WRAL News, WRAL's Eric Miller talks with those who had their appointments canceled. State troopers are looking for a hit-and-run driver after a deadly crash. It happened in Johnston County on US 70 Business near Smithfield around 2 o'clock this morning. State troopers tell us a motorcyclist died. The other driver left the scene. We'll keep you updated on the search for that driver.
Early voting begins in just 3 days, and both presidential campaigns are making stops here in North Carolina this week. Vice President Kamala Harris was in Greenville yesterday. Today, Donald Trump Jr. will be in Johnston County. The running mates of both Trump and Harris will be making stops in our state this week. Tonight, the candidates for State Superintendent of Public Instruction will face off in a debate. Democrat Mo Green and Republican Michelle Morrow will debate tonight at Pinecrest High School in Southern Pines. The Public School Forum of North Carolina is hosting the event.
Cumberland County elections officials will conduct voting machine testing today. The accuracy testing will take place at the County Board of Elections office in Fayetteville. All machines that are being used in the election across all of North Carolina's 100 counties will go through tests just like this one. We have a voter guide you can find on our website as well, WRAL.com. It has more information about same-day registration, all the important dates you need to know, as well as information on how to vote by mail and voter ID restrictions. Just search Election 2024.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, very exciting. A NASA spacecraft is ready to set for launch for Jupiter and its moon Europa. If you look here, that is the countdown. We are less than 2 minutes away from liftoff. This is one of the best bets for finding life beyond Earth. It is going to Jupiter. This was postponed last week because of Hurricane Milton, but it will peer beneath the moon's icy crust where an ocean is thought to be close to the surface. Again, a live look at the Kennedy Space Center, 1:27 minutes until liftoff. So it won't search for life, but rather determine whether conditions there could support life. This will take 5.5 years to reach Jupiter. So we're talking 2030 is when it's going to get there. It's 1.8 billion miles away, and the mission costs $5.2 billion. We'll have more on this mission coming up at 12:15.
We are just under 2 days from the start of the North Carolina State Fair. Opening day Thursday. This year there are 2 new rides and loads of new food. WRAL's Scott Mason is live at the State Fairgrounds where Media Day is in full swing. And Scott, I hope this involved a lot of sampling.
32 food vendors are here at State Fair Media Day with all new foods such as the bacon wrapped cheese on a stick, sizzling hot funnel cake. We have this deep fried spaghetti with slaw on it. These are good folks from Warsaw, Duplin County. And over here, the crab cake Sammy vegan. This is Sierra. Tell me about it.
So this is our crab cake balls. They are vegan. It's like a rice and veggie blend. And we put a little kelp, and kelp gives it a seafood flavor.
Wow.
So it really tastes like a crab cake. And then this is our apple empanadas. They're kind of like a fried apple pie. And it comes with a coconut cream sauce.
That's fantastic.
So good.
What do you think of the State Fair?
I'm excited. I'm nervous. We're from Raleigh, so we used to come in all the time and eat. And now we're on the other side feeding people. So it's real crazy that we're like here on this side of it.
Sierra and Sierra Dixon, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, 32 food vendors represented here, but at the State Fair when it begins, there'll be more than 100 different foods. The State Fair started in 1853. It's been at this location since 1928. It all starts Thursday. Back to you.
All right, Scott Mason with a preview of all the food that you can get at this year's State Fair. You can find ticket information, new foods, rides, and parking information, all in our State Fair guide. Just search State Fair on WRAL.com.
Today is Indigenous Peoples Day, also known as Columbus Day, an official holiday that recognizes Native American heritage and contributions. The holiday honors people who already lived in the country when Christopher Columbus landed in 1492. The holiday was first recognized in 2021 by the Biden administration. Some places will still mark the day as Columbus Day. The post office is closed, but FedEx and UPS are still open. The Federal Reserve and banks are closed, but the market is still open. Coming up next at noon, a small plane made an emergency landing in the front yard of this Georgia home. How anybody was able to survive this wreck.
Also, a marathon record left in the dust. How the fastest female ever to cover that distance accomplished the feat.
Plus, what lies beneath the hurricane floodwaters could be quite harmful. At 12:30, the wildlife turning up in some unexpected places.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
The U.S. is sending an advanced anti-missile system and number of troops to Israel. This move deepens its involvement in the conflict between Israel and Iran. The decision was announced hours before a Hezbollah drone strike on Israeli killed 4 soldiers and hurt over 60 others yesterday. The U.S. previously aided Israel's defenses during missile attacks from Iran by providing support from warships and fighter jets in the Middle East.
The FAA is investigating a small plane crash in Savannah, Georgia. It left 1 person dead and another person injured. That small plane crashed in the front yard of a home about 9:45 last night. The pilot of the plane was killed. The passengers suffered minor injuries. Can you imagine out of that wreck? No one on the ground was hurt. The cause of the crash is not yet known. Opening statements are now underway for the trial of a man accused of killing the founder of Cash App. 40-year-old Nima Momeni is charged with murder. He's accused of stabbing Bob Lee to death in San Francisco in April. Court documents allege Lee and Momeni got into an argument over Momeni's sister. If convicted, Momeni could spend the rest of his life in prison.
Just a short time ago, NASA plans to launch a new robotic mission to Jupiter. The Europa Clipper is the largest spacecraft it has ever built for a planetary science mission. It will study the composition of the ice-encased moon, called Europa, and help determine if it could support life now or whether it did in the past. Amy Kiley spoke with some experts before today's launch.
This is going to pave the way for the future.
NASA's biggest planetary mission spacecraft to date is set to explore a potentially habitable place for life beyond Earth. The Europa Clipper is named after its destination, an icy moon of Jupiter.
We scientists have been dreaming about a mission like Europa Clipper for more than 20 years.
Scientists think the moon Europa is one of the best bets in the solar system for sustaining life. Under its surface, they believe it has an ocean, with tides from Jupiter's gravity that produce heat.
Scientists believe Europa has the suitable conditions below its icy surface to support life. Those conditions are water, energy, chemistry, and stability.
NASA says the Europa Clipper carries 9 instruments for testing those conditions, along with a gravity experiment.
Given everything that we've really learned about necessary conditions for life, Clipper is going to tell us if Europa has all of these ingredients for life.
But don't expect that data tomorrow. The journey between Earth and Europa spans about 1.8 billion miles.
It's going to be another 10 years because Jupiter's so far away until we have all the science in the bag.
And that was Amy Kiley reporting. Several space probes have made observations of Europa before, including NASA's Voyager 1, Voyager 2, and Galileo missions. This is NASA's first time studying an ocean world beyond Earth.
Carolina Panthers are still looking for their first, or I should say second win of the season. They played the division-leading Atlanta Falcons, and in the first half of this game yesterday at Bank of America Stadium, things were pretty tight. Falcons did end up pulling away in the second half for a 38-20 win. Panthers are 1-5 on the season now. They hit the road next week to play rookie sensation Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. Ruth Chepngetich of Kenya smashed the world record by nearly 2 minutes at the Chicago Marathon Sunday. She won in a time of 2:09:56. The 30-year-old crushed the women's world record, which was 2:11:53, set back in 2023 in the Berlin Marathon by Ethiopian Tigst Assefa. Now, not only did Ruth become the first woman to break 2 hours, 10 minutes, but also the first woman to average under 5 minutes per mile for a marathon. 4 minutes, 57 seconds per mile. That is flying. And that means she is also the first woman to run faster than 12 miles per hour for an entire marathon. It's the third time Ruth has won the Chicago Marathon.
Under 5 minutes per mile? What
On
in
average,
the world? She's not driving.
for
No,
26
she's
miles.
running. That's so impressive.
Goodness.
My goodness. Well, you don't want to run through this beautiful weather. Just soak it all in. We've got the sunshine there and some mild highs before the temperatures dip, Kat.
It's beautiful outside today. It makes Monday a lot easier when it's 76 degrees with full sunshine, right? It's been a beautiful day so far. Temperatures have been comfortable, but you're going to need your jacket or at least a sweater later this week. It always works out where we cool down just in time for the North Carolina State Fair. That starts Thursday. You can see the Ferris wheel is ready to go right by Dorton Arena, and the WRAL booth is going to be out there at the Dorton Arena as well. So, of course, come by and say hello. The first day at the State Fair trending a little cooler. We've lowered the highs, 62 on Thursday, and hello fall. It's going to be a beautiful day. The layers are going to be needed. A cold front passage is arriving, and that's what's going to bring the cooler weather. It is going to be dry along the cold front tonight, but breezy, and then sweater weather is back as we get into the middle of the week. Low temperatures dip into at least the 40s at night. Thursday and Friday morning, we could be in the upper 30s in our more rural cities. So it's important that we start considering and talking about the potential for frost Thursday and Friday morning. No threats for that really Tuesday, Wednesday, or Saturday, but wedged in between as we get into Thursday morning, I've highlighted all the areas in blue that we're going to have to watch for some frost. So this is mostly north of the triangle and west of the triangle that would have that potential. Nobody is in the purples in North Carolina, or at least in our part of North Carolina, or the pinks. So this is not a freeze threat, but instead a frost threat. So with it being a light frost threat, you'll probably be okay to cover up some of your more sensitive plants, and they'll be able to make it through this. Patchy frost, 35 in Roxborough, 39 in Durham, 39 in Rocky Mount, 37 in South Hill, 40 in Raleigh, and 41 degrees in Fayetteville. It's really going to be chilly out there Thursday morning. And when we look at our average first fall freeze, that is in between October 21st and the 31st here in most of central North Carolina, a little bit closer to the end of the month in early November toward the coastal plain as well as the Fayetteville area. So it's almost that time of year after all. We're in the middle of October. As we look ahead tonight for your dog walking forecast, 4 o'clock, 71 degrees, by 8 o'clock, 59, and dipping down into the 40s tomorrow morning. We're not going to be in the 30s though. 46 in Raleigh as well as Durham, 42 in Roxborough, 47 degrees in Fayetteville tonight. And tomorrow temperatures are going to be much cooler than today. 67 for Fayetteville, 64 in Raleigh, 63 in Durham as well as Rocky Mount, and 59 for the high tomorrow in Roxborough. Sweater weather is here with us. Over the next 7 days, here's a preview of what to expect. We see that big temperature dip. Temperatures stay cool through the rest of the work week, and then once we get to the weekend, we get a little bit of a warm up again. For the third weekend in a row, we've got a dry forecast with warmer temperatures in time for the weekend, but not as warm for this upcoming weekend. Instead of hovering around 80 like last weekend and the weekend before, we're just going to be back in the 70s, but all around a beautiful fall week. Just a small chance for rain tomorrow night into very early Wednesday morning. Jeff and Renee.
I'll take it from here in the WRAL Live Center. A Fayetteville man has just been arrested and charged with multiple felony level offenses. This is Jerry Milan Jr. He has been charged with 13 counts of indecent liberties with a child, 3 counts of statutory sex offense with a child less than 15, and 3 counts of contributing to the delinquency of a juvenile. All of these incidents occurred between 2015 and 2024. He was taken into custody last Thursday. He is being held at the Cumberland County Detention Center under a $250,000 secured bond.
Hurricanes Milton and Helene may not have hit the triangle, but your insurance costs could still be affected. Coming up today on your news at 4, we'll look at how these major storms are driving up policy premiums no matter where you live.
Plus, Ticketmaster customers say their tickets were stolen out of their accounts. 5 on Your Side is helping people get refunds and warning you how to protect your tickets. That's tonight at 5:30. Plus, still ahead this noon, call it a candle controversy, the design that prompted Bath & Body Works to remove the product from store shelves.
Plus, if you're looking for one more beach trip before the cooler weather comes in, you may be in luck, where you can score a cheaper flight for a nice getaway.
Bath & Body Works is apologizing for this, a candle of theirs that some shoppers say appeared similar to a Ku Klux Klan hood. There's a snowflake in the image on the candle that featured 2 holes on either side of the spindles. Critics say it looked similar to hoods worn by members of the KKK, thus dubbing the design a clandle. One ex-user said that how did that design ever make it to the shelves? This isn't a branding mistake. It's a reminder of how sensitive cultural symbols can be. Another wrote, I don't think black people cared, but carry on. The candle is no longer available on Bath & Body Works' website. Boeing plans to lay off 17,000 employees, 10% of its workforce, as it deals with a strike that shut down production at its factories on the West Coast. Analysts say the cuts aren't strike-related furloughs, but are more about tough choices by Boeing's new CEO to reduce costs. The company hasn't reported an annual profit since 2018. It's been hit by a series of problems with its 737 MAX aircraft. Boeing's defense business has also performed poorly.
Apple could release a cheaper version of the Vision Pro headset next year. According to Bloomberg, Apple would likely use cheaper materials and a less powerful processor. The device wouldn't include the eyesight feature that shows a user's eyes outside the headset. The current model costs $3,500. The reduced price version would cost around $2,000. A second-generation Vision Pro is expected sometime in 2026. A new travel trends report found airfares to some of the world's top beaches dropped in the last year. The top location was the Mediterranean resort city of Nice. Fares to the city fell by 27% in the first half of the year compared to last year. Now, if you would like to stay closer to the U.S., flights to St. Lucia, Bridgetown, Barbados, those all dropped by 25%.
Still to come this noon, floodwaters in Florida from Hurricane Milton are still threatening homeowners. What authorities are finding in the waters that could put your life at risk.
Plus, teenage years come with many learning curves. Experts say there are ways to get them through it. Coming up, how you can help navigate them through the pressures they face. But first, here's a look at the winning lottery numbers.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Floridians returning to their homes after Hurricane Milton face new dangers that may be hidden in the floodwaters caused by the record-breaking rain.
NBC's Quad Venegas has an important warning from state officials to avoid floodwaters because alligators, snakes, and stingrays are turning up in unexpected places.
In addition to turning roads into rivers, Hurricane Milton has also brought a flood of wild animals into unsuspecting Floridians' backyards.
Sorry. Oh, that was a big alligator just bit our tire.
This video capturing the moment a resident in Fort Myers realized a gator was swimming next to their car and attempting to take a bite out of their tire.
So it makes sense that with the flooding, a lot of people are seeing these in their homes.
Yeah, in their homes, in their pools, backyards, bedrooms, absolutely everywhere.
So why do they go into houses?
So the water pretty much pushed them, obviously, out of their pond area. They're going with the flow.
In the Tampa area, Jen Meser walked into her garage-turned-home gym the day after the storm with her 5-year-old on her hip to find an unexpected visitor.
Holy moly, we've got a gator in our garage. He made a trip over to the treadmill, got his cardio in for a second, and then he meandered out underneath my truck.
Messer and her husband called 911, but were able to shoo the gator back toward the pond near their house.
We directed him, but he wasn't that happy about it. So he did take a big chomp out of our broom. It was a wild day.
In this video, another family returning to their home north of Tampa was greeted by a gator lounging on their front porch. Experts say residents in flooded areas need to be careful.
I would absolutely be concerned on what's out there. I would not go in dark water. I would be extremely cautious.
Plus, gators aren't the only creatures out of their element.
A lot of the snakes that may be subterranean underground have been flooded out, just like people have been flooded out. Don't surprise them. That's why I tell people to avoid the water when possible.
You're not kidding when they're down there. Along with the flooding, people in this community in Florida are now navigating additional damage caused by a sinkhole. Some people have severe property damage. This video shows a partially collapsed home as well as damage to residents' lawns. The people are encouraged to stay mindful as they assess the damage around their homes.
Back here in North Carolina, volunteers and search and rescue crews are working to get things back to normal in the western part of our state. Not many people love the mountains of North Carolina more than retired WRAL anchor Bill Leslie. After a long career in broadcasting, Bill now tries to spend at least a week each month in his mountain home in Allegheny County with his wife, Cindy. And that's where he gets to take all those beautiful pictures. While his property was spared, he says it's devastating to witness the damage to his neighbors' homes.
Favorite thing is getting up in the morning with a cup of coffee and going out on the deck and just watching the sun come up, because it's almost always a glorious event with Pilot Mountain to the right and 7 ridges, one right after another to my left. And if I'm lucky, I can see that sun come up over there, right over the white pines. And that's, to me, the biggest thrill.
And we love seeing his sunrise photos. Bill retired in 2018 after 39 years here at WRAL. In his retirement, Bill joined the Conservation Trust for North Carolina, which works to protect the mountains and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Processing emotions after natural disasters can be difficult, especially for children. We have some resources on our website. Just search Mental Health Helene on WRAL.com.
While most teenagers don't work full-time jobs, several factors could cause many to buckle under pressure. Juggling their academic and social responsibilities, as well as planning for their future, can lead to burnout. Sue Guzman shares how parents can help them navigate through the chaos.
Life can get pretty stressful regardless of your age, but according to data from a new study titled Unpacking Grind Culture in American Teens, Pressure, Burnout, and the Role of Social Media, a majority of the nation's adolescents are struggling not to crack under all the strain.
Symptoms of burnout have been increasing in young Americans.
Researchers surveyed more than 1,500 teenagers and found 81% said they felt negative pressure in at least one area of their lives, while 56% are in distress over creating a game plan for their future, like choosing a college and a career. The inner turmoil didn't stop there.
Over half are saying they feel pressure, negative pressure, to achieve and to always be exceptional. And over half are saying they feel negative pressure to look good.
Sarah Conrath of Indiana University co-authored the report. While medical experts warn how social media use can increase the risk of depression and anxiety, Conrath says it is important not to assume every teen was feeling pressure because of what they were consuming online.
For example, we found that teens who were involved in social gaming actually said it was kind of a pressure release for them.
What shocked researchers was how little sleep and exercise many teenagers reported getting each week.
Those who engaged in healthy practices more were feeling less pressured, and they also had lower rates of burnout.
Besides encouraging healthier lifestyles, analysts say parents should help their kids create more flexible schedules and not project their fears onto them.
That was Sue Guzman reporting. The WRAL documentary unit explored the issue of declining mental health in young people in early 2022. You can watch our entire Pandemic Generation documentary and all of our WRAL documentaries right now by going to WRALdoc.com.
The family of a UNC student who lost his life just over a year ago is spreading hope through a foundation in his name. Elijah Hawkins Maynor died in a crash on Page Road in Durham last October 5th. His family created the EJHM Foundation in his honor. They are keeping his legacy alive by collecting food and clothing for people who need it and working to mentor young people in the community.
When we are serving in the community, we always ask our community, what is it that you need? What is it that you want? So when we continue to be a blessing to the community.
The family was recently able to give its inaugural EJHM Foundation scholarships to 8 young people in the community.
New research reveals a diet high in sugar is linked to depression. The foods that are sugar loaded and would be healthier to avoid.
Now's the time to start thinking about Halloween costumes. We will share the best ways you can save money while keeping it easy and creative. Remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or on the WRAL app on your streaming device.
Happening right now in the WRAL Live Center. Some really sad news. At least one person is dead after a tree fell on the train tracks near a New Jersey Transit River Line train. That train ended up hitting that tree, killing the operator of the train. Police say that the train struck that downed tree around 6 o'clock this morning. Local police say 20 people at least were injured in this. Witnesses say most of the injuries on that train appear to be minor. Both directions of the track were shut down after that accident.
Michelle, thanks. Your sweet tooth might be doing more than just adding a few extra inches to your waistline. A new study found a link between our love of sweets to depression. In fact, 31% of participants not only were more likely to have depression, these individuals also had higher rates of diabetes and heart problems compared to other groups. The biggest culprits include biscuits, pastries, soda, and alcoholic beverages. About a quarter of adults suspect that they may have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, but very few discuss it with their doctor. Experts say about 4% of adults in the U.S. ages 18 to 44 have ADHD and may not be diagnosed until they get older. The survey says younger adults are more likely to suspect it and seek help. ADHD symptoms include inability to pay attention, hyperactivity, and impulsive actions.
It's the time of year when homeowners are cleaning up their yards in preparation for winter, but there are some things you can do to prevent injury from all this. Be sure you warm up first, do just a little bit of yard work at a time, and don't push yourself. If you start to feel any kind of pain or discomfort, it's best to stop. If you feel sore once you've completed the task, physicians suggest you do some movement.
Movement helps reduce some of that delayed soreness because you're helping flush out the chemicals, that pain chemicals that form, and you're bringing in new blood and new nutrients, taking away the bad stuff.
And be sure you wear the right protective gear while doing yard work to prevent any injuries. The same goes for using the right tools for the job.
Props from the wildly popular HBO series Game of Thrones pulled in millions of dollars at auction. The item that sparked a battle of the bids.
Plus, the price tag on Halloween costumes can be scarier than the costume itself. After the break, we'll help you save some money this season.
It is 12:44 and it looks breezy out there at Lake Gaston, but very comfortable temperatures and lots of sunshine out there. Our temperatures will be trending downward later this week. A futuristic way to respond to emergencies. The Burlington Police Department is now using a drone to go to 911 calls. It is the focus of a WRAL investigation that airs tonight at 6. Investigative reporter Sarah Kruger gives us a look at this cutting-edge technology.
This is something that's being done more and more around the country. Burlington just started their program about 3 months ago. The drone lives on top of the Burlington Police headquarters downtown. With the press of a button, it goes out to emergencies all over the city. It can be most places in just about 3 minutes. Manning the drone, gathering the video and the information, is a police officer who can then relay that info to the officers on the ground.
So as I'm seeing something, I get on the radio, tell the officers responding what I'm seeing, whether the person's running in one direction or another, if there's any weapons seen, if they need additional resources, that sort of thing. So it's nice to be able to get on scene quickly rather than spending 7-8 minutes in traffic.
The program has been so successful in the eyes of the department that they are in the process of getting a second drone. Coming up tonight at 6, we'll show you how this technology is working in Burlington and get into privacy concerns that this is bringing up on the national stage. Sarah Kruger, WRAL News.
And there are some privacy concerns about the use of drones by police. Sarah shows us how Burlington is trying to ease those concerns. That story tonight on WRAL at 6.
A lot of folks will be looking for ways to save on costumes this Halloween. New data reveals 57% of Americans plan to use secondhand items to make do-it-yourself costumes this year. You can make zombie costumes by ripping up old clothing. Scarecrows are also an easy option, especially if your child has some clothes with holes in them. A costume expert at Ohio State University says now is the time to start looking for ideas.
Don't wait till the 3 days before Halloween. You want to give yourself time. Nothing is worse than a rushed costume.
And if you're also looking for ways to save on pumpkins, experts say the costs this year should be similar to seasons past. We're in that season, especially weather-wise, as we take this turn a little chillier.
That's true, yeah, and we're awaiting that nice crisp fall weather, but we're also still tracking the tropics, even though we have a nice dry spell. Meteorologist Kat Campbell taking a look at what's going on there.
Well, you know, hurricane season doesn't actually end until the end of November, so we're not done yet. I do want to let you know there's a system that we're watching right now, but it's not one at this point that we really need to worry too much about. So let's talk about it. It doesn't look like anything on satellite just yet, but as it moves toward the Caribbean over the next week, there is a medium chance of it developing, about a 50% chance. So if you do have travel plans to the Caribbean this weekend or early next week, you should keep a very close eye on this system. For us here in the U.S., here's all the way through Sunday. You can see there are no models that have it in the U.S. through Sunday. So we've got at least through Sunday to track this system to get a better idea of where it could be headed. But given the location of two high pressure systems, there's a couple different things that could play out. It could kind of get stuck between these two flows in a very weak steering flow, or this high pressure that's keeping us very chilly this week may help to steer it due west and keep it well south of us. So we'll keep an eye on it for you. At this point, it's not anything I would worry too much about. Below normal temperatures are in the forecast this week for us, though. We've got a big dip in the jet stream that's going to be delivering some pretty chilly air from Canada. Sweater weather is coming back this week. 43 degrees Wednesday morning, just 60 Wednesday afternoon. I mean, barely getting out of the 50s Wednesday. Thursday, for the start of the state fair, 62 degrees, 40 degrees both Thursday and Friday morning. So those mornings we'll watch for the potential for some frost in our northern and rural communities. And then over the weekend, we'll warm up a bit. High temperatures in the lower 70s. Over the next week, not much rain in the forecast. The one chance would come between tomorrow night and Wednesday morning. So kind of wedge right between the 2 days. I do have a 30% chance of rain in the forecast tomorrow night. We'll watch for that, but I think most of the rain would be while folks are sleeping. So it looks like it would be pretty low impact for us here in central North Carolina. Let's take a look outside. 76 degrees in Durham at the moment, 76 in Raleigh, 77 in Fayetteville. They have a lot more cloud cover in Fayetteville at the moment. If you're headed out to the playground this afternoon, temperatures should be very comfortable in the low to mid 70s. It's a warm day outside, but overall it's going to be a really nice one. Mostly sunny in Durham and Raleigh, 76 in Raleigh, 75 Roanoke Rapids, 78 in Wilson, and 73 in Siler City. A little warmer to the south and east, 82 in Fayetteville today, 78 in Smithfield, 76 degrees in Robbins this afternoon. It is finally feeling really good out there today. Not too hot, not too humid. Temperatures are going to be in the 70s today, and then look at the chill. You'll need the extra layers as you head into the next couple of days. I will say we've got partly cloudy skies in the forecast tomorrow and Wednesday. So without the full sun, it is going to definitely feel chilly. Wear your sweater. By Thursday and Friday, 60s still for highs, but if you're headed out and about and you're in the direct sunlight, maybe going to the fair, it will be pretty warm out there in the sun. Make sure you've got the extra layer, though, at night. Temperatures in the 40s for lows for the next 7 days.
Kat, thank you. Crocs are going to the dogs. Seriously.
Coming up, when pet owners and their fur babies will soon be able to sport the matching footwear here.
Too cute. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today.
The Raleigh Police Department is honoring the life of an officer who was killed in the Hedingham mass shooting. They honored Officer Gabriel Torres during a wreath-laying ceremony at the Law Enforcement Training Center. Torres is one of 5 people killed in the Hedingham mass shooting in October of 2022. He was leaving for work when he was shot and killed in his neighborhood.
State troopers are looking for a hit-and-run driver after a crash that killed a person and happened in Johnston County on US 70 business near Smithfield around 2 this morning. State troopers tell us the motorcyclist involved died and the other driver left the scene. We'll keep you updated on the search for the driver.
Tonight, the candidates for North Carolina Superintendent of Public Instruction will face off in a debate. Democrat Mo Green and Republican Michelle Morrow will debate tonight at Pinecrest High School in Southern Pines. The Public School Forum of North Carolina is hosting the event.
Game of Thrones fans clashed over prized auction items over the weekend, bringing in a whopping $21 million. More than 4,500 bidders placed bids on costumes, props, scripts, and other things from the HBO series. The most coveted item, a metallic paint and jeweled replica of the Iron Throne. Fans battled 6 minutes for it, with the winner parting with $1.49 million to claim this Iron Throne.
We've seen people and pets with matching items like sweaters. Well, now they can rock Crocs too. The Casual Clog is partnering with a dog subscription service to make matching shoes for dogs and their owners. The new Crocs come in marbled patterns. They glow in the dark also, some of them. Dogs and humans can get their matching Crocs starting October 23rd.
So for your pet, do you buy 2 pairs or they just come with 4?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, our pets of the day come to us from Love Mutt's Rescue. Clara here is golden with white paws, chest, and chin. Carter is tricolored with white paws and has a turned-up nose. They are both around 5 months old. They appear to be a small breed mixed with boxer and lab. Both love to swim in the lake and fetch pine cones. Right now, they're under 20 pounds, but they think they might grow to about 35 pounds. We're told they love other dogs and cats and walk well on a leash. Apply to adopt on lovemuttsrescue.org, and maybe you can get them some Crocs too.
They don't come included.
No.
And you don't have to put them on them.
Just buy them as a treat.
They are pretty cute. FEMA workers in Western North Carolina have been ordered to stand down after safety concerns in some cases. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, the threats employees are facing and the hurdles that is creating up in the mountains.
We have beautiful sunshine out there. Go ahead and embrace it now. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL. Your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can also get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Do that. Blue skies behind us. Look at that. Getting ready, counting down to the State Fair. Have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.